Evening is 18:30 Greenwich Meridian time. This is News Tonight in the Park and this news broadcast. Former Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa Safo referred to MPP's Disciplinary Committee for defying directive on anti-party public pronouncements. Claims of political targeting dismissed as government insists search on former BOG governor's home was court approved.
We take responsibility for the search that are happening, and we want to make it clear that those searches and the mode in which they were done in accordance with law. Warrants were procured.
President Mahama condemns killing of military officer in Bawku and abuse of residents by some military personnel. Details as former UN mediation advice calls for removal of military contingents in the area. We explore if this could be the turning point in ongoing tensions. As the world marks Oral Health Day, Pepsodent champions access to dental care for children through digital innovation. And elsewhere, Ethiopian Prime Minister dismisses possibility of war with Eritrea over access to the Red Sea. These stories and many others making up the 60 minutes comprehensive broadcast. To stay with us here on News Tonight. Many thanks for tuning into the bulletin. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has condemned the killing of a military officer in Bawku. The officer from the 11th Mechanized Battalion reportedly died after being attacked by gunmen. He was said to have left the station without wearing his uniform and proceeded to another location where the gunmen accosted and shot him. Speaking during a thank you tour of the Upper East and Northern regions today, the president also condemned the military's retaliation.
I wish to take this opportunity to condemn the killing of a member of the Ghana Army recently in Bawku. The members of the Ghana Armed Forces in the conflict zone are peacekeepers who have been sent there to protect life, limb, and property. It is unacceptable for them to become targets of a conflict to which they are not a party to. I, in the same vein, wish to condemn the high-handed response of our men in uniform, which resulted in assaults and injury of many innocent civilians. I can understand the righteous anger at the loss of a colleague serviceman, but we must exercise restraint and use effective intelligence gathering to identify and bring the culprits to book. I wish on this occasion to extend my condolence to the family of the deceased soldier, and at the same time to extend my sympathies to all those who were assaulted or injured in the military counteraction.
Former UN senior mediation advisor Emmanuel has strongly condemned reports of military brutality in Bawku, calling for an immediate replacement of the current military contingent. He was speaking earlier to Lily Muhammad on GHOne Newsroom, where he described the situation as one of the worst examples of military conduct in civilian protection.
How can the armed forces of Ghana be so cruel, so wicked to the very civilians that the state has deployed them to protect? It has been repeatedly going on to the point in which the military now think they are untouchable, they can kill, they can maim. So we must remind the people of Bawku, it's unacceptable for you to touch a military officer. Because once they wear that uniform, it's not about them as individuals. They represent the state. But the best way to do that is for the military to show the people of Bawku that we are here to protect all of you, that they, the contingent of the Ghana Armed Forces in Bawku, have become the worst example of how any military can operate on the ground.
But let's engage Executive Director for Rural Initiative for Self-Empowerment, that is RISE Ghana, the person of Adwoa Kariyama, on this particular development. Ahmed, good evening. I'm Monday on this particular call. Why?
I think that it's a bit premature to call for the dissolvement of the military command on the ground. If you observe, inasmuch as the high-handedness of the military is unacceptable and must be condemned in no uncertain terms, over the past period, there have been a lot of attacks, targeted attacks on military establishment and intelligence interests of the country. And this conversation, we must be careful when we are having it so that we don't unfortunately fall into the trap of a propaganda or a certain narrative that is unlikely to derail efforts. We observe, our military have a solid reputation globally and locally in terms of their professionalism. However, there are times that they go off board and do things that must be condemned. And the case that happened in Bawku for the past few days must be condemned in no uncertain terms. But that has not become a basis for us to say that the whole military command in the area should be disbanded. Over the years, if you observe the terrain, in fact, I always say that 90% of the information we get from Bawku, from grown-ups, from children, from adults, a lot of it is propaganda. You will recall that there was a time that the Mampusi faction accused the military of burning their houses, of protecting their enemies to burn their houses. There was a time also the Kusazi faction accused the military of burning some young person, a small child, in a heap of where they save food. If you follow these matters, you come to realize that not the stories that are given by the two factions are not entirely the case. So if we are not careful, we would create a narrative where we would tend to lambast the military unduly. In as much as we condemn, the military has no basis to use extrajudicial force to be able to apply to address a particular situation. But when we call for their disbandment and others, we must equally condemn some of the actions of the civilians in the area. The military have come under attack under several occasions, and there are several military interests and that have been bought. And if you recall, some of the MPs have tried to speak up against some of this, and there are several recordings from ordinary citizens threatening the military that they are going to come after them and that they are going to take action under them. We are not saying that on authority that this is as a result of the threats, but if you look at the trend of what is happening in the military escorts being attacked and a lot of other things, you realize that it is a situation where we must be careful, and the politicization of the matter is also a factor. Before the elections, a lot of propaganda was laid. From one side, they said Bawumia was responsible. From one side, they said the NDC was responsible. So both factions were turning the issue of the security to their political capital. Unfortunately, we are still there. So we need to delink politics. We need to delink and look at take out the propaganda that is happening on the ground and the misinformation. The ordinary people in Bawku are so averse with misinformation that when you are not careful, you will end up doing a particular advocacy that is likely to worsen and derail the situation. And so that is why I call that an independent inquiry should be launched into the matter. And I mean, since the year 2000, military brutalities have been happening in Bawku, and you will know that the Honorable Member of Parliament for the area has had cause to even write to the Shrine on some occasions. But we must also take note of the fact that there are other interests from the private citizenry that is also against the security. So we must have a dispassionate discussion whereby we are ensuring that everybody has a right to go about their business, move about where they are,
right,
whether they are private citizens or they are military. An individual has a fundamental human right to live, and we must protect that irrespective of the profession or the ethnic group they belong to.
Wow, thank you so much. Ahmed Awal, as the Executive Director for RISE Ghana, have been engaging largely on recent happenings at Bawku. But now back to the President's tour. I kicked off to the Jubilee Park in Bolgatanga on Saturday, March 22. The President will continue to the northern region, where he would hold a similar event at the Jubilee Park in Tamale. Presidential Affairs correspondent Abdul Hanan Adam joins us now with more. Hanan, tell us, what has the President been saying beyond Bawku and his thank you tour?
Well, there have been quite a number of issues. He talked about developmental projects in the area which are stalled, projects that started under the Prof. Mills administration through to the association terms as the big push infrastructure projects. So the big push infrastructure projects will now deal with the Palugu multipurpose dam. And he says that the agriculture thrives in that area. And he believes that this is also going to be another avenue that will curb rural urban migration, where we see a lot of young girls travel all the way to the national capital in search of greener pastures. So he says that if this is completed, all year round agricultural activities is going to happen. And also the spillage of the Bagri Dam in neighboring Burkina Faso, that particular project is going to deal with the spillover that runs into the northeast region. And he also talked about the fact that he has asked the managing director of the Ghana Airports Company Limited to begin source for funding for the construction of the Upper East Regional Airport, which he believes that there are a lot of mining companies in that area. If you look at Stalinsi, if you look at Garu and other surrounding areas, mining is thriving in that area. Bongo, to be precise, another area where there's a lot of mining. Tongo, another area where there are a lot of mining activities going on. And he believes that that mining industry should be supported by the establishment of a regional airport, which will airlift businesses and other medical initiatives that would be needed in that regard. He also talked about the fact that roads in that area, Tamale, Nasia, Wale, that stretch has been deteriorating in the past few years. And he believes that he has already promised them that a lot of road networks will be constructed, including the Bogatanga, Tupaga, and China areas where the roads are very bad. He believes that his government is going to deal with that as well. But Agyabeng, from here, the president is expected to be in the Ashanti region tomorrow, where he is going to be launching the Tree for Life project, which is a reclamation project in terms of dealing with the menace of Galamsey in the Ashanti region. We know that in Konongo, for example, we know that Obuasi and other parts of the Ashanti region, there are a lot of illegal mining going on there. The youth of the region are heavily engaged in illegal mining, and he believes that it is time for the reclamation effort. We know that just about less than 24 hours ago, the lands minister, together with the environment minister, did announce that they've reclaimed 7 forest reserves out of the 9 that has been besieged by illegal miners. And so this project intends to curb the devastation that has been caused by illegal mining. Okay, from there, in the Ashanti region, he will now move to the northern region, where he will end the thank you tour in that area. Right.
Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on what the president has been seeing on this thank you tour. Abdul-Hanan Adam is our presidential affairs correspondent here at the EIB network. Away from that, Deputy Minister of Justice and Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai has defended the recent raid on the residence of former Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison, insisting that the operation was conducted lawfully. We have that update and more on Inside. Stay with us. In the raid on the former Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison's home, the minority has been speaking, but Deputy Minister of Justice and Attorney General Dr. Justice Sremsai has defended the raid, saying that it was legally authorized. He insists that the operation was conducted lawfully. Now, according to Dr. Justice Sremsai, following this allegation that the National Security Operatives raided Dr. Addison's residence on Wednesday, March 19, 2025, he says that he is taking responsibility for the raid, stating that it was carried out with legal, proper authorization.
There are a group of people who believe that the AG is actually being slow, and there's another group of people who are of the view that the AG is being aggressive. Last night there were some searches conducted in some homes, and the views are divided. But I would like to assure the public that we are, as much as we can, pursuing persons who are believed or are suspected to have looted, state assets, being money or other properties. We are committed, and work is going on day and night for that to be done. Most importantly, we are also doing so within the framework of rule of law, because as you may know, there have been instances in the past where persons who are suspected have been treated, have been arrested in manners that don't comply with the rule of law. where violation of human rights and other laws have been broken just because people are suspected. We've also witnessed instances where people have been put on trial for years without any evidence and without any conviction, without any trial, and they wake up, go to court, and then they are just spending money on lawyers. We are determined, and when I say we, I mean my boss, the Attorney General. He is of the view, his policy is that he will not put anyone before any court without having sufficient evidence to prosecute the person. So the reason the reason for the delay we are seeing, or what most of the public are seeing as delay, is that we are making sure that we get the right. We get it right. We get the evidence before we put someone in court. We are not in the business, or we will not be in the business of putting people before the court and now seeking permission to go and now look for the evidence. At least we must have what we call sufficient evidence to be able to put people before criminal court. If you look at how government works, we work with other institutions and people submit complaints. So, but every search that you see, is part of the government framework to fight the corruption, and we take responsibility for the search that are happening, and we want to make it clear that those searches and the mode in which they were done in accordance with law. Warrants were.
However, private legal practitioner Agyabeng has strongly condemned the operation, arguing that despite official sanction, its execution was unlawful. He emphasized that seizing or disabling the former governor's private property amounted to theft, asserting that authorities overstepped their boundaries by targeting Dr. Addison's personal assets.
Never ever come across this. I mean, if you are disabling a CCTV camera, you don't want the public to know what you are doing, then what do you have to hide? You are hiding something. And, you may be given a proper order, but the execution of the order could be unlawful and illegal. So there's two things. The order, you may have presented a cogent argument before a sitting judge, and the judge becomes convinced that yes, in the interest of justice and in the interest of the nation, you are to be given a warrant to go and search, to retrieve whatever exhibits that you think will aid your case. But to disable one's camera, private property, which doesn't belong to the state, and to take it away with you, as far as I'm concerned, that's stealing.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament has expressed outrage, calling on the government to end what they describe as politically motivated raids on former officials of the Adwoa MPP administration.
According to Japan, he had a warrant to search the premises of Dr. Addison at his Roman Ridge residence. To them, the man had some money, cash, in it. They forced their way, overpowered the security, and entered his premises. This Rambo style approach must cease. In fact, at the end of their raid, they could not find anything. Unfortunately for the governor, some 10,000 cedis on his bed could not be found. So some of these hungry party foot soldiers that they use, who parade themselves as national security operatives, after all, perhaps not even being paid, and they use this opportunity to steal. The governor's wife's earrings and necklaces were also not traced. They couldn't be found. In other words, those operatives stole these earrings and necklaces.
That is the allegation coming from the minority leader in Parliament, Alexander Afenyo-Markin. But let's speak to Mustafa Gbande. He wears the hat as a Deputy General Secretary for the NDC and a Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency. Good evening, and many thanks for your time. Mr. Agyabeng, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Just gone by was the sound bite of Emmanuel where he makes allegations of theft by national security operatives. How do you respond exactly to these?
Well, first of all, good evening to our cherished listeners. I think first of all, you should always talk because you have a mouth. You have to talk because whatever you say makes sense. I've listened to some other persons who are treating security matters as if we are in classroom. We are at a classroom. We are dealing with serious security matters of persons who are politically exposed. We call them PEPs, who have handled sensitive institutions, have led to several loss of amounts of cedis and dollars, including collapsing of banks, which involves the loss of businesses that is owned by private individuals. And so when the state embarks on an operation, you label that as an unlawful. All one requires to go into an individual's private property is a warrant. Whether they choose to execute it daytime or night, it still is a lawful entry into that person's, property. So what is the hue and cry? We lived in this country when they chose other means of, persecuting and also chasing people who were similar performing government rules in the previous government. Where were all these scholars who are ranting and chanting and, mentioning books? Look, the minority should keep quiet because the ball is yet to start. We haven't started the game at all, including the minority leader himself. His time will come that he will be brought to book. And so I think that they should shut up and let us go through the process. Look, anyone who has a question to answer will have to answer. Making allegations against national security officials who are discharging their lawful duty. For me, I think it's an unwarranted and a bad attitude from a minority side. Because to come and accuse them of taking money when you have not, adduced any fundamental evidence to the public, you have not proved anything to show that they've taken anything. For me, it's wrong. It's a deliberate, attempt to shield persons who are under investigation. And I think that the minority should be condemned for doing such a thing.
Now, Mr.
You can't frustrate and obstruct investigation.
Were the belongings of the wife of Dr. Ernest Addison taken as part of investigations?
Did the warrant say they should take money? Did the warrant say that they should go and take jewelry? So these are unfounded petty allegations orchestrated by a minority trying to shield persons who are before lawful investigation. The Minister for Attorney General have owned up. They told you that, look, the officers went there, lawfully went there under a warrant. The individual involved was a governor of Bank of Ghana, and he is under investigation. Well, from this hue and cry, when nobody touched anybody, they only entered the premises. And I'm saying that we lived in this country, which is a democratic state. The only document you need that you have forceful access to somebody's private property is a warrant.
Mr. Agyabeng, if you can kindly hold on for me now, let me speak to security analyst Emmanuel for a particular reaction in respect of what you say unfounded allegation in terms of the money taken and then the jewelry that has been lost. Emmanuel, many thanks for your time this evening. You were shaking your head when Mr. Agyabeng was responding to the allegations and claim of monies lost and then jewelry taken. Why the reaction?
In fact, thank you for having me, and very good evening to our cherished listeners. In fact, I'm shocked and quite disappointed by the stand my good brother Agyabeng has taken. Agyabeng is not helping the image of his party and the president. We are in a democracy, for Christ's sake. What is wrong yesterday cannot be right today. Merely having a warrant doesn't give you the power to do the things they did. They are laid down protocols when you are executing a search warrant. If such laid down protocols were followed, I don't think there would have been this counter accusation of stealing and what have you. And I want to remind my brother, some years back, your house was demolished at Adenta. You suffered and cried the same things. And you are in government and you are speaking this way. I don't think this is the change Ghanaians voted for. To me, I don't believe in politics of equalization. And the office of the governor of the Bank of Ghana is a serious office. The way we politicize issues in this country, it loses its meaning. And at the end of the day, we don't get to benefit from such issues and learn from same. I am not happy about the posture of the minority. I see the office of the governor of the Bank of Ghana was a political one. But however, I want to appeal to my friend Bande. Power is transient, right? You are in power today. Tomorrow you may not be there. Are you saying that they should do the same things you are doing now? Let me be explicit as a security analyst. When you are going for this search warrant, international best practices, and you believe that a crime has been committed, what the security operatives should have done is to place the governor under some form of arrest. And in all the distance you are going through his house, he should have been in company or somebody, such that this counter allegations doesn't come up. What was the security operatives afraid of? Entering the house and cutting off the CCTV. If I'm a professional security operative and I'm carrying out a warrant under the law and I'm doing my professional work, I don't think I should be afraid of what is behind me. As a citizen of this country, I think that our democracy has come of age. We are highly respected in the international arena, and the goodwill that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is enjoying now, I don't think Bande and Co are helping. Ghanaians are very, very calculated people. Don't take Ghanaians for granted. And I want to advise my good brother to tone down a little bit. We are not in a military style government situation. And you can't impugn wrong when you don't have the evidence. So let's go through due process. If these people have committed any crime, they go through our law courts. But when you are prosecuting them in the public space like you are doing, I think it's quite unfortunate. What evidence or what authority have you got as the deputy director of operation at the presidency to impugn that the game haven't even started, and even alluding to the fact that the minority leader will be next? Did we vote power to you to come and settle political scores, or we gave you power to exhibit and do to all manners of persons their rights as enshrined by the Constitution? So I think that we have to be careful as a democracy and don't turn this beautiful democracy into a banana republic. If they are wrong, my brother Bande, we have institutions that are mandated to investigate same and speak to same. You are a public officer, and you will not be there forever. So be guided and be mindful when you are speaking in the public space.
Let's take a pause on that and bring in Mr. Bande now. The concern by the security analysts here is largely how this rubs off on the president. You are Deputy Director of Operations at the presidency. Is the president happy with what is happening now?
I'll let my brother, give his rendition. But he mentioned international best protocols. He also mentioned due process. He has failed to also adduce any fundamental evidence that says that even let's assume that you have a problem with the modus of operandi of security officials in terms of executing a warrant. You have also not shown that they've taken anything there. You have not shown any evidence to suggest that the officials who were undertaking lawful duties...
When they disabled the CCTV that will have safe evidence, what was the rationale for the operation taking up the CCTV in the house or the house?
Allow Mustafa Gbande to land.
Can you let me land?
Yes, go ahead.
You brought him quickly to say that my house was demolished and blah, 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 and all of that. We are not dealing with my house. We are dealing with, and including that you mentioned the change Ghanaians voted for. You may not have voted for this kind of change, but I can assure you that one of the reasons Ghanaians voted out the previous government was the belief that some wrong acts have taken place that involves, the use of state resources, and that it's a wanton obligation of government to ensure that we bring people to accountability.
So,
and that
are you saying these raids have President John Dramani Mahama's approval? I'm saying that the president have to approve. He's the president. He's the first gentleman of the land. You are saying Ghanaians voted. Must the president sanction investigation? There are state institutions who have to work independently. And so, is he happy with this? When those state institutions are working, you cannot, make defamatory comments to suggest that they have stolen from the place where they executed their warrant without abusing any evidence to the public. You are misleading the public and trying to court public attention. Well, the opposition MPP believes that this is some form of political witch hunting and is targeted and is not led by intelligence. I think that it's a cover-up. They are trying to shield persons who are believed to have undertaken some wrongdoing, and that persons who are before investigation. That is exactly what the opposition is trying to do, but it will not wash. Now, Mr. Fagbande, why are you passing a judgment on people if they are just going to investigation? You seem so sure that they are persons guilty of a certain crime that we don't know of yet. That is what fundamentally all of us believe, that some wrong reasons have taken place. And so if tomorrow my brother, who is a security expert, decides to say that I am in some form of wrongdoing, then it is for the law to immediately, be triggered to take through the process. Exactly. So as the wheels of justice grind slowly to ensure that these people truly, if they are guilty, are convicted of their crimes, is there no due process to follow in bringing them? No, the due process is when, he didn't tell me what due process is required at the stage of investigation. If facts are gathered, evidence are established, fundamental, evidence are established. Once it's put before court, Mr. Addison has not been judged, he's not been jailed. There was a warrant, a document from the court that allowed people, state officials, to go in there to conduct an operation. And then if you have a problem, you can have a problem with it, but that is at the level of investigation. And so I don't see the hue and cry from my minority side. And then my brother talks about best international practice and all of that, but you have not really shown how the warrant execution and the operation violated. What law has it violated? Is it that the court was not supposed to give a warrant and they gave a warrant? Is it that persons should not be investigated, or we have changed the law such that if I believe that someone has done something wrong and I'm a state official performing a duty, I should put the person before court without investigation? Is that what we are trying to do? And you call that democracy? Mr. Fagbande, we'll leave the conversation here. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on News Tonight. Emmanuel, let me come to you, and within some 60 seconds, share with us your immediate reactions and thoughts. He mentions, and Mr. Fagbande mentions democracy. He says that you didn't directly state what due process you are saying is falling bad, and he believes that Ghanaians voted for persons who are believed to have used state powers in a wrong way to be brought to book, and he believes that they are following through in the right stead. Just some few thoughts on that.
I think my brother is still in the campaign mode, and he was not listening to me when I was talking about due processes in executing protocols. But you see, he must be reminded that under our criminal jurisprudence, every citizen is innocent until proven guilty by a competent court, a court of competent jurisdiction. So all I can say is that the goodwill they are enjoying now, they should exercise it within the confines of the law and don't abuse the law like we have witnessed when they invaded the former finance minister's home and that of the governor. We are talking about these things because today is them, tomorrow it could be me or you. So the point is that we are building our democracy and we are building our institutions. Nobody is saying that these people should not be touched if there is any evidence of wrongdoing, because every public office comes with a responsibility. What we are simply saying is that we should do it under the confines of the law.
Right.
So when I chastise the minority that I didn't like their posture, because we are making the issue look as if it's an NDC MPP issue, that one too, you didn't hear that. We are building Ghana, and let's be mindful of the legacy we leave behind. And also, power is very transient.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Emmanuel Kutin is a security analyst. Earlier, we spoke to Deputy Director at the Presidency, Deputy Director for Operations at the Presidency, and Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bandi, and that ends it for Insight. Many thanks for keeping faith with us here on News Tonight. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. Now, the opposition MPP has directed all members to cease media pronouncements that create disaffection within the party. Various stalwarts in the party have taken to media platforms to express their frustrations at incidents which they believe contributed to the party's defeat in the 2024 general election. But with emotions boiling over, the party has had to remind its members that their actions violate the party's constitution and has served notice it would refer all found culpable to to the party's disciplinary committee. There is more in this News Desk report.
I have just called His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him as President-elect of the Republic of Ghana.
That was former Vice President and Election 2024 flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Maumia, conceding defeat to President John Dramani Mahama in what may be described as the biggest election landslide in Ghana's recent history. The NPP, visibly stunned by the defeat, set up a 12-member election review committee chaired by former Speaker of Parliament and renowned political science lecturer Professor Aaron Mike Okwe to perform a post-mortem on the defeat and develop a pathway for rebuilding the party for the next general election.
The wisdom of the National Council, 11-member committee has been put in place. The mandate that has been given to them are in about 4 folds.
But before the 3-month timeline would elapse, leading members of the party have been on a tell-it-all on various media platforms expressing their misgivings at some pre-election decisions. Key among them are former Subin and Asante Akim North MPs Eugene Boachi Enchi and Andy Apia Kubi, who have blamed former President Akufo-Addo for the party's defeat.
We have all worked for the ticket for him to be elected president, for us to be elected members of parliament. So we want to see him and discuss these things privately with him. That the way he's going, please. He may not run again, so of course. But at least we have a party to win an election. So we're all concerned.
The blame will go by extension because he refused to listen to us even when we saw reality and we tried to communicate to him. He wouldn't take anything of that sort. He was too recalcitrant.
Former Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu also revealed how he voluntarily stepped down in order to prevent the party from splitting.
So, I didn't want to be the eye of any storm in the party. I'm quoting myself. Until I'm resigning.
Conclusions of fact-finding committees are often accompanied by rumors, and Inshayeso MP and former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Stephen Amwa did not take it lightly when the supposed Ashanti Regional Report accused him of contributing to the party's downfall in the region.
MPP for me say a win election. Because this time will be an EP. They might catch you and no more smart kwakwa. Emmanuel constituency. Ever present a report. Mama Omo Wednesday. Put the media took up to Friday to retract and apologize to the constituency. And yes, sir. Nobody should control me.
But while the party remained largely silent on these comments, the recent return of former Dom Kwabenya MP Sarah Adwoa Safo seems to have ruffled feathers.
Me start yedi gender mami. Me who beba time na. President Akufo-Addo catch me say me audit of school feeding. And sani ya mami sikapo di aye adwuma. And I did my audit with the report echo cabinet. And the rot, majority of the rot in the central region. Rot, katasisa project it was school feeding. It was school feeding.
With allegations of corruption, backstabbing, and a resurrection of controversial circumstances of the passage of the 2022 budget and e-levy accompanying her return, the NPP, through its General Secretary, released a stern caution to all members. Justin Frimpong could have further in this. If the release of the statement is simply coincidental or a direct response to Adwoa Safo, who has been speaking on various platforms. And will members of the party who have so much to get off their chests heed to this caution, or it will rather trigger more reactions?
Well, obviously, Sarah Adwoa Safo did not heed to the caution, and the party has carried out a threat and has referred the former Dom Kwabenya MP to the National Disciplinary Committee over her recent media engagements concerning party matters. In a statement signed by General Secretary Justin Frimpong, it widely indicates that following the directive issued to all members of the New Patriotic Party to cease discussions on matters that create disaffection within the party in the media, Honorable Sarah Adwoa Safo's comments in the media, particularly on the Pulse show of Joy News, are clear contravention of the directive issued to all NPP members. As she is aware, the directive explicitly states that all party members must cease discussing party issues that create unrest, negativism, and disaffection in the media and other related platforms. Her actions are not only in disregard of this directive, but also undermines the party's efforts to rebuild and move forward. As a former Member of Parliament, former Deputy Majority Leader, and former Minister of State under the erstwhile MPP government, she was expected to set a good example and adhere to the principles of discipline, loyalty, and unity that have always defined our great party. Her failure to do so not only reflects poorly on her, but also in contravention of Article 3.5 of the party's constitution, which, amongst others, enjoins us to promote and defend the good name of the party. In breach of the above provision of the party's constitution and the directives issued earlier, Honorable Sarah Safo is hereby referred to the National Disciplinary Committee of the party for further action. And that does it for the latest we have on Sarah Safo. We'll be following the story keenly, but up next is the business news. The Bank of Ghana has clarified that MTN Ghana has not been licensed to facilitate cross-border transactions. In a statement, the central bank emphasized that Mobile Money Limited, the operator of MTN Momo, has not received any authorization to conduct such transaction. Addressing developments in the fintech space, the BOG explained that it had granted Bridge Fintech Ghana, a licensed payment service provider, approval to pilot projects, a B2B currency swap platform under its regulatory sandbox program. Now, while MTN Momo itself is not licensed for cross-border transactions, the BridgeX pilot, which commenced live testing in February 2025, allows selected MTN Momo customers to participate with plans to extend to GHOne users. At the conclusion of the pilot, the BOG will assess its results to determine alignment with Ghana's financial regulatory framework and future policy direction. So this clarification from the central bank comes amidst some concerns raised by a few Ghanaians concerning cross-border payment transactions between MTN Ghana and MTN Nigeria, among others. Now, it was first raised on social media platforms with the Minister responsible for communications and digital innovations, Honorable Samuel George, Nati George, commenting earlier on it that he will work with the Bank of Ghana to get some clarification on it. And today we have seen that particular clarification coming forth now. And the minister responsible has as well put that particular information on social media. And Pepsodent's, Ghana's leading oral care brand under Unilever Ghana, is enhancing access to oral health care through its teledentistry service, a digital platform that allows individuals, regardless of their location, to consult a dentist at any time. As part of the 2025 World Oral Health Day celebration under the theme, "Now Everyone Can Talk to a Dentist," Pepsodent aims to use its teledentistry service to demystify dental visits for children and make oral care more accessible.
World Oral Health Day, observed annually on March 20, raises awareness about the importance of good oral hygiene and promote optimal oral health worldwide. As a leading oral care brand, Pepsodent Ghana has been commemorating this day for years, collaborating with key stakeholders such as the Ghana Dental Association, the Ministry of Health, and the Ghana Education Service. Speaking at this year's event at the Accra Rich Church School, Managing Director of Unilever Ghana PLC, Chris Wolf Caesar, reaffirmed Unilever Ghana's commitment to improving oral hygiene across the country.
Pepsodent has been at the forefront of driving positive change in oral health care across Ghana. So, for example, in 2022, we recognized the need to bridge the gap between patients and dentists and introduced teledentistry, a revolutionary service providing free dental consultation via WhatsApp. In 2023, we expanded this service, making it even more accessible and convenient for individuals in remote areas, as you may have seen from the video that was just aired. Last year, our focus shifted to children, emphasizing the importance of early dental visits in shaping lifelong oral health habits.
Engaging with the media, category lead for orals at Unilever Ghana, Vera Buedu, emphasized that the teledentistry platform will help ease children's fears of visiting the dentist and provide nationwide accessibility to oral health care.
we realized a lot of people really needed and wanted to talk to dentists. They have had the opportunity to speak to a dentist, some of them for the first time, and very positive results coming out so far. We started off with just a few people, less than 1,000 people calling out these dentists. Now we have a monthly rate of about 8,000 engagements on our platforms, and then also using a toll-free line, accessing the dental care services.
Meanwhile, President of the Ghana Dental Association, Cecilia Kakraba Kwashi, lauded Unilever Ghana and its Pepsodent brand for championing oral health campaigns over the years.
Pepsodent has been our partner for a very long time. I mean, over 10 years we partnered with Pepsodent to bring oral health care awareness to our Ghanaian population, and it has been a wonderful collaboration. This year, we both decided to come together and make it bigger and better and make the impact way better, reach a lot more people.
The event also provided participants with free oral health screenings, after which they received complimentary oral care products from Pepsodent Ghana.
I brush my teeth twice a day, and it is important because the teeth are dental hygiene good, and it keeps our teeth white so that we can feel confident in ourselves. Pepsodent is a very good toothpaste because they care about people and they tell us to encourage good health, good oral care. Brush your teeth every day.
After this break, we have more for you on the bulletins. Do stay with us. Song from King Paluta was noticeably absent from the nomination list for this year's Teleso Ghana Music Awards, a situation that has left fans of King Paluta disappointed, questioning why his hit song failed to make it to any of the entered categories. Khadija Idi has more.
King Paluta from the organizers. Fans of King Paluta are also expressing disappointment
Surprised why it wasn't nominated.
Other musicians also use profane songs, but their songs were nominated. So I don't know the reason why it should be nominated out of the category.
Like, it's a hate and it's almost everywhere. You can hear it from kids, adults, like it has the hate. So I don't know why it's not on the nomination list. But
Makoma is not the only song containing profane words, so it shouldn't be the barrier.
They're supposed to nominate that song because last year they played the song very, very well. So they should go back and do their corrections well.
You see, being plenty musicians to the do. You see, plenty musicians feel they talk matters with them follow talk for music inside. But you see, say be cool. Well, me that I want to talk say then get them idea. The reason why them do them answer them no.
As of now, TGMA organizers are yet to respond to the inquiry.
You guys are interested, and when we have more on this, we'll bring it to you. But it's now time to do some international news. With Eritrea regarding access to the Red Sea, despite warnings from regional officials and experts about a potential conflict between the two neighboring countries. Concerns about war have intensified recently following Eritrea's declaration of a nationwide military mobilization and Ethiopia's troop movements toward the border, as reported by diplomatic sources and officials. Abiy emphasized that while access to the Red Sea is crucial for landlocked Ethiopia, his government is committed to resolving the issue through peaceful dialogue rather than military confrontation. An hour of comprehensive news promised and delivered. Time 7:30. Many thanks for your time on News Tonight. My name is Emmanuel Agyabeng. On behalf of the entire production team led by Bernice Agyabeng, thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.